Welcome to Winter Weather Spotter Training, a module designed to help weather enthusiasts understand winter weather and the impacts involved. Part 2 of this winter weather series will discuss winter weather safety, the risk factors of winter weather, and things you can do to help prepare yourself for the storm. Whenever a winter storm approaches, it is important to make preparations so that you are ready. Stay informed by staying up to date on the latest forecasts as the storm gets closer. Also, use common sense. Most deaths related to winter storms occur in vehicles, which consists mainly of vehicle crashes when driving in wintry conditions, as well as carbon monoxide poisoning from leaving your car running to keep warm in a closed space such as a garage or a block tailpipe, which can cause exhaust to leak into the vehicle. 25% of winter storm related deaths occur with those who are caught out in the storm and are unable to find adequate shelter. This can happen if you are caught unprepared or are stranded. 5% of winter storm deaths are caused by heart attacks due to overexertion from shoveling snow or other activities when out in the elements. The majority of winter storm deaths occur in males over 40 years old. What some may not know is that winter storms are deceptive killers in that most deaths are indirectly related to the storm itself. Colorado averages about a dozen big storms every winter. Some conditions that you can experience in winter storms are heavy snow accumulations, strong winds, cold temperatures, and occasionally freezing rain or drizzle. See Part 1 of the Winter Weather Spotter Training for more information on winter precipitation types and conditions associated with winter storms. Strong winds can cause areas of blowing and drifting snow, reducing visibilities and having a huge impact on travel. In combination with cold temperatures, strong winds can make it feel colder than it actually is and put you at greater risk for frostbite or hypothermia. This will be discussed on the next few slides. Any exposure to cold temperatures for an extended period of time can result in frostbite and or hypothermia. Wind chill, as mentioned briefly in the previous slide, is defined as a combined effect of wind and cold air. The wind chill factor is based on heat loss from exposed skin. The following slide shows a wind chill chart. In order to figure out what the wind chill temperature is, find your temperature on the top portion of the chart and match it up with the wind speed on the left portion of the chart. The colors indicate the time in minutes that it would take to experience frostbite depending on which color of the chart your wind chill temperature falls under. In this case example, the frostbite time would be 30 minutes with a wind chill temperature of -21. If you are exposed to the elements during the winter season, not only during winter storms when it is snowing, but also in cold temperatures or windy and cold conditions, you may be susceptible to hypothermia or frostbite. So what is the difference between these two terms? Well, it has to do with temperatures. Hypothermia is defined as a lowering of the body's core or internal temperature, which can occur with temperatures well above freezing. Frostbite, on the other hand, is defined as the freezing of flesh, which occurs with temperatures below freezing only. One is especially vulnerable to frostbite if you have any exposed skin, so it is important to make sure you cover all exposed areas if venturing out in the cold. Here are some helpful tips for mitigating hypothermia and frostbite. Move vigorously. By doing this, you can increase your metabolism and keep your extremities warm. This will help diminish the threat of hypothermia. Staying dry is another way to diminish the threat of hypothermia. Dress in clothing that is appropriate for the weather. It is important to make sure all exposed areas are covered, including fingers, toes, ears, your nose, and head, especially in cold and windy weather. Some helpful suggestions are that mittens tend to be better than gloves. Wearing a scarf to cover your mouth can help protect your lungs from cold air, and it is suggested to wear a hat and a hood, as half your body heat can be lost through your head. Wearing loose, lightweight, and warm clothing in several layers can also help mitigate frostbite and hypothermia. Wool is a particularly good choice as it holds air, which helps retain heat, keeping your body warmer. It is important to dress in layers. Layers can always be removed to avoid perspiration, as sweating can make clothing wet. Any outer garments that you wear should be tightly woven and water repellent. And lastly, always remember to stay hydrated by drinking plenty of fluids. So what should you do in case you have to venture out into the storm? Check the latest forecast and conditions. Some important sources to use are the National Weather Service page at www.weather.gov/GJT. This has one-stop shopping for all your weather needs, including any watches, warnings, and advisories, the latest forecast for your location, and current conditions such as temperatures, winds, and precipitation. The Department of Transportation, DOT, is also an important resource for the latest road conditions and up-to-date information on road closures. Just dial 511 in your state to get the latest. Also, the All Hazards NOAA Weather Radio provides you with the latest up-to-date forecast and watch warning information for your local area. If you do travel, it is important to have a winter weather survival kit handy. So what is included in such a kit? You should have tools needed in case you need to start your vehicle or get your vehicle out of a messy situation. These include jumper cables, rope and tire chains, a shovel. Have some extra clothing, blankets, and non-perishable food on hand in case you get stranded. Bottled water is essential, as it is very important to stay hydrated, as this can also help mitigate the risk for hypothermia and frostbite. Cell phone is another important tool if you need to call someone in an emergency. First aid kit, medications, flashlight, extra batteries, waterproof matches, and a windshield scraper and brush are some other items among those listed. These are just a few recommendations. Bottom line, use common sense and pack what you deem essential. So what should you do if you happen to get stranded? If you are stranded, stay with your vehicle. Make sure the tailpipe is clear of snow, as any blockages can cause exhaust fumes to leak into the vehicle, leading to increased risks of carbon monoxide poisoning. If you are stranded, run the engine sparingly, maybe 10 minutes or less each hour, to conserve fuel, and crack the window open to increase airflow of oxygen through the vehicle. You can stay close together to keep warm. Whatever you do, do not eat the snow. Try to stay as dry as possible to prevent hypothermia. One method to make yourself seen is to tie a bright cloth high on the vehicle. You could increase your chances of being rescued if you make yourself visible. So, if you are at home, how should you prepare for the storm before it hits? First, gather all necessities. These items include, but are not limited to, the following: batteries, candles, alternate heat sources, filling up the fuel tank in your vehicle, food, medicines, and baby items if necessary. While the winter storm is raging outside, it's recommended to stay inside. Don't venture out if you don't have to. Be careful when using alternate heat sources, as there can be a risk of fire. It's important to try your best to stay warm. It is especially important for infants and the elderly who may have a tougher time maintaining body temperature. Also, drink plenty of fluids. As mentioned before, it is very important to stay hydrated. Once the storm is over, you know what time it is? That's right, it's time to clear all the snow from your driveway and sidewalks that has fallen. Remember to take your time and take many breaks if you need to, as you do not want to overexert yourself. Now is a good time to check on your neighbors. Also, make sure you dress appropriately for the cold weather and stay dry. Stay ahead of the storm by obtaining the latest weather forecasts and current conditions. You can do this via the All Hazards NOAA Weather Radio, commercial TV or radio, smartphone apps, and the National Weather Service website at www.weather.gov/GJT. These are just a few examples of the plethora of sources to obtain this information. Thanks for watching Part 2 of the Winter Weather Spotter Training Series on winter weather safety, created by the National Weather Service Office in Grand Junction. You can follow us on social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and check for the latest forecasting conditions at our website, www.weather.gov/GJT. We hope this information was beneficial to you. Now you know the steps necessary to prepare for winter weather, stay safe, and know the risks of winter weather.